welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to do another shout out video. I'm going to read some of your comments and then kind of comment on them. Okay, so the first one is from Baby Doll, and this was from that video from the drone footage. She said, I can't even, and she has a sad face, and his co-workers must have showed up before he could go get that sheet and trash bag, because even if his plan was to come back and blow it up, the sheet and trash bag would have probably blown too far to have caught on fire. Yes, I agree with that. Thank you, Baby Doll. Morgan Henry says, I don't see what people say about Shanann. I watch her, it makes me want to be a better person. And I agree. It does me too, actually. So, thanks, Morgan, for commenting. Rosie Carr says, "Aw, you have such a calm and soothing voice and love listening when you read aloud the latest regarding the Watts case. This terrible, horrific case still has me captivated. My dear Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and Nico's innocent souls rest in peace." Beautifully said, Rosie Carr. Okay, Paige says, Chris's mom, Cindy, has so much hate inside her for Shanann. It still festers today. Shanann's family are so genuine, and they actually care, and speaks volumes to me. You are a product of your environment and upbringing. Chris is a monster, just like his mom. He just learned a way to hide it a little better. He learned from his mom's mistakes and became even worse. Yes, I agree, Paige. That was a good, well said, because, yeah, he learned it from his mom, and he took all like his mom's mistakes or weaknesses or whatever, and he even became more of a monster and better at like hiding it, like you said. Yes, I believe that. Yeah, I agree with you. Okay, S. Taylor says, narcissistic emotional abusers always twist and project their actual behavior onto the victims when the victims try to confront the abuser and defend themselves. Cindy done this twice here, saying to Sandy that Sandy was controlling when actually it was Cindy who was being controlling, not letting a Ruseks communicate with her own grandchildren. She done it again, telling Shanann that she was scary. Classic deflection and gaslighting. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and anyone who cannot see this woman as a blatant narcissist needs to wake up. Yes, I agree. And I wanted to actually tell you a little bit about gaslighting. Like, where did that term come from, actually? It was a play back in 1938, right? It was a mystery thriller, and then they adapted it into a film in 1944. It was about a married couple. Paula and Gregory were their names. And throughout the film, the abusive husband manipulates his wife to make her feel as if she's gone mad. Okay, so Gregory is like manipulating Paula, right? He leads her to believe she's stealing things without realizing it and hear noises that aren't really there. She begins to question her reality, okay? So where they got the term gaslight refers to one of the ways he manipulated her, okay? Throughout the film, Paula sees gaslights dimming and brightening for no apparent reason, and Gregory convinces her that it's all inside her head. In reality, he was switching the attic lights on and off to create the gaslight flickers. He manipulated her belief in her own perception of reality through the gaslights. So he made her think she was crazy. Like, no, those gaslights aren't going on and off. What are you talking about? So she was doubting her own perception, like her own reality, her own, perception of what. I mean, this is somebody's perception that, that she's counted on her entire life. Okay? So it's making her question the very instincts that they have counted on their entire life. Making them unsure of anything. They're unsure of anything. Like, this was her own perception and instincts that, that never led her astray before. And now all of a sudden, she's seeing something that he's claiming is not even there. So she thinks she's going crazy. So that's where that term gaslight, because it was the gaslight, so they just named it, it got coined the term gaslighting. So But yeah, it's like it's a form of emotional abuse where the abuser manipulates situations repeatedly to trick the victim into distrusting his or own memory and perceptions. So it's a slow process. So this is just a common technique that abusers, dictators, narcissists, cult leaders, they use this technique, and it's done slowly, okay? So the victim doesn't realize how much they've been brainwashed. It's like very slow and calculated. They just slow, and then pretty soon the victim just thinks they are losing their mind. They don't trust any of their instincts, any of their perceptions, any of their memory. They just think they've lost it. It's crazy. It's like one of the more dangerous techniques, I think. Because you can make the victim question their sanity. Like, they eventually feel like they are insane. Like they don't trust anything, any of their perceptions anymore. So therefore, the abuser has all the power, because it's like, okay, I'm not going to trust my instincts or my perceptions or my memory, so I'm going to go by what you're telling me, okay? So now the abuser gets to run the whole show. He has all the power, because the victim thinks that, oh my God, it's me, I must be crazy. So they just believe whatever the abuser's going to tell them. So it's dangerous. It really is. So I just wanted to let you know about that. Okay, so good comment, S. Taylor. Okay, Fairy Zen. Hey, Fairy Zen. Okay, the last selfie she took in the car without makeup, looking so tired and drained, gets me each time I look at it. He did that to her in 8 weeks. Kept her worrying while he waited to see if he could move on to NK. He knew time was running out for his secret. The gender reveal, although delayed, would be happening soon, and the first he had promised NK of having a son would be broken. Remember, that was the one first that he could give her, she could give him, so he knows, shoot. And Shanann has a son, and now NK, it can't be her first. She can't be the first to give me a son. So it would be all over social media, the fact that Shanann was pregnant with her son. This rushed the timetable of events. I think he had planned, in my opinion, to murder Shanann and then say she had run off somewhere. NK didn't then want him to move in with her. She had told him she would get a flat for him and the girls. No mention of the baby. He had told so many lies to so many people, it all came crashing down around him. I do hope he gets moved elsewhere this week. He is enjoying his new prison too much. I agree. Fairy Zen. Great comment. Stacy W. I wonder why Shanann didn't know he wasn't home most of July if she had the access to the security system. And that was creepy. Nicole said he would have strangled her. And it seems like I remember NK saying go to the doctor's appointment too. That would definitely prove she knew. And we all know she knew because she stalked her Facebook. Thanks for taking the time to do all this. Really enjoy your page. Aw, thanks, Stacy. And yeah, I wonder that too. Like, because you remember Nicole Atkinson's interview where she said like that Shanann knew, what time Chris came in and left because she gets the notification on her phone. But then I wonder if he disabled it and then acted like it was broke, and if that was those texts when she's like, call Vivint, could you call Vivint? So he could have been lying. Maybe nothing was wrong with it. He disabled it. He told her when she was in North Carolina that it wasn't working right, so that's why she was hassling him to call them to get it fixed. So maybe that most of that month he just lied and said it was broke, and he actually disabled it. That's what I'm thinking, but I'm not sure. Okay, Sarah K. Listening to you is like listening to a best friend. I love your perspective on this tragic case. Your heartfelt sympathy and understanding of Shanann is so touching. Aw, thanks, Sarah K. You're so sweet. I know, I feel like when I'm making these videos talking like I'm talking to like all my best friends. I really do. And especially when we're doing lives, it just feels like I'm hanging out with all you guys and we're just having a good time. It really does. I love it. That's why I want to get that hangouts, so we could call. The only thing is the way Randy has it set up. I don't know if we'll be able to do the hangouts at his house because of his internet, but I could do them at my house. So I don't know. We got to figure it out. Because if I go over there, I'm not sure if we could do the hangouts. And you need, because we just do the mobile live when we're over there, and that doesn't really give you the option to do that. So we need to have a different system, which Hangouts is one of the ones where you could do that. And I think I want to go that route because it's easy to use and it's right there. So hopefully we'll be able to figure something out so he could be there, we could all be there, and you guys could call in and we could talk, and it'll be like a big party. All right. Corey Blake, you're so sweet. We are so lucky to have you, Tiff. You work so hard at providing great information while still ultimately respecting the memory of Shanann and her babies. Love your channel. Love Randy too. Aw, thanks, Corey. You're so sweet. Okay. Michael, just wanted to say I've been a follower almost since the beginning, and your videos have been fantastic. Your work, research, and videos overall are done rather well. It's obvious you spend a lot of time and effort in what you do. So I just wanted to say thank you for all of this and keep up the good work. Aw, you're welcome, Michael, and thank you for being there. You know, supporting us, because without you guys, I mean, really, I don't think you guys realize how much that you mean to all of us. Seriously. Okay. Alicia Hassinger. Hey, you're awesome. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know if it's a soft G or hard G on your last name, but have a great Easter, you two. Thank you for another great video. Live or not, still awesome conversation. Thanks, Alicia. And you always have the sweetest comments. I love reading your comments. I love reading everybody's comments, but you're one when I see your name, I'm like, oh, what does she have to say? And it's always so nice. Margaret Courier. Hopefully I said that right. Hi, Zav Girl and Randy. First off, a lot of good points and possibilities you hit on. Always interesting to figure out what and why people do what they do. I doubt that picture is NK. Just too many people in the world to get a shot that easy. I also got to add, I love the pictures you put up behind you. I love what they all say. I also love what you stand for by putting pictures like that up. I think it says something about who you are as a person, Zav. And to you too. So, Randy, I'm sure she's talking about. Thank you, Margaret. You're so sweet too. Okay. Holly, okay, I don't know how to say this last name, but I'm going to try. Holly Law. Yeah, Law. Holly Low? Holly Law. Maybe Holly Law? I don't know, maybe Holly Low or Holly Law. I'm not sure how to say that. It's human nature to lose our sense of reality when we fall in love. It's so intoxicating. You know, it can distort your sense of reality. NK was like a drug to Chris, aka Satan. Usually it doesn't cause someone to take the life of their entire family. It's truly amazing how our brains work. I agree, Holly. And I agree that, you know, falling in love can be so intoxicating. I've been in a situation where it's just like, it does distort your sense of reality, and you could be blinded by everything else going on around you, and people could even be telling you like, you're crazy, what are you doing, or like, and you're just, you got the blinders on, like he said. Remember, he kept saying, I got the blinders on. It's like I have blinders on. So no, I mean, I agree with you on that. And yes, it is amazing how our brains work. That was one of the things that fascinated me in college, in some of my psych classes, like cognitive psychology. That was, we studied the brain pretty in depth on that, and that was pretty intense. And just, you know, all the different neurotransmitters and just all the different parts of the brain and how they worked. I love learning about that stuff, and like the biology and how the different drugs, you know, work for different mental disorders, and then just how the brain works in general, and then how some of the functions, how they don't function properly and why it can cause certain disorders, or something environmental that happens could actually change your brain chemistry, which is crazy. So not only like the whole nature versus nurture was fascinating, because you could be born with certain genes, the genes that you inherit, and then you could have the environmental factors, so for instance, the genes you get, you could be more vulnerable to certain diseases or disorders, but then the environment plays a part because environmental factors, so you could be like more genetically predisposed to being successful, or being an alcoholic or a drug addict, or it could be learned behavior, by learning by observing your parents or your friends or the people that are around you growing up. So, but what I'm saying is, like, you could be genetically more prone, more vulnerable to get a certain disorder. That's why it's like, it's kind of tough, because like if somebody abuses their wife and kids, is it because they were born with violent tendencies, or is it because they observed their parents' behavior doing the same thing? Or like somebody is very successful, is it because they're genetically predisposed to be successful, or is it a result of their environment? Like, it's always usually a mixture. Of course, it's not, you can't have one without the other, because you're gonna have influences, you're in an environment, so you can't say one for sure causes the other, because there's a mixture. You always have your biology you're born with, and you have your environment. So it's kind of hard to kind of say what's what, but there's certain disorders that are more genetically inherited, and then there's certain ones that are not, so it's kind of, and then for instance, let's say your mom is schizophrenic. Okay, I think that schizophrenia, I think, is like a 50% genetic predisposition. I don't remember the actual statistics on that, but it's pretty high where you can inherit it. But it doesn't mean you're for sure, because your mom has it or your dad has it, you're for sure going to have it. But you're more vulnerable to it. So your environment could make those chances of you getting it increase or decrease. Let's say you're in a bad environment or a stressful environment, or something happens traumatic, even like a traumatic incident could make you more vulnerable to developing it. Or let's say your mom, let's say your dad is an alcoholic. Okay, so not only, that makes you not only environmentally being around it if he was drinking in front of you, and then you have those genes, because they did link there's some kind of gene that they're linking with like alcoholism. So let's say you have that gene in your family, so you're more vulnerable and predisposed to become an alcoholic. So maybe it would be better that you didn't socially drink that much, because your chances on becoming an alcoholic is greater than somebody that goes out and drinks that doesn't have an alcoholic family member or alcoholic parent. So like, you have somebody with an alcoholic parent, somebody doesn't, and you guys are both just socially drinking, you guys hang out, and it's just a social thing at first. But that person with an alcoholic parent is going to be more, the chances of that person becoming an alcoholic is going to be greater than this person. Now, it's not saying that he's for sure gonna be an alcoholic, but it's just, it predisposes him. It makes it, the chances higher than this person of becoming. In general, that's not like a black and white, like, oh, this is always the case, but generally that's the way it works. But I kind of got off track here. What my point is for Chris, like, if his mom is a narcissist, as far as narcissistic personality disorder, if that is what Chris has, there's still some debate whether, and they say with narcissistic personality disorder that genetics and neurobiology may play a role in the development of narcissistic personality disorder. Okay. Biologically vulnerable children mixed with the parenting styles that are overprotective and neglectful may have an impact. And to think about it, Chris's mom is gonna has those parent styles, definitely. Okay. And if she's a narcissist, then genetics, he could have inherited that gene. I don't think it's just all black and white, like that they know exactly what gene causes it. They believe that there's some genetic basis to narcissistic personality disorder. So kids that are already vulnerable genetically and then have a parent with that parenting style, that's making the kid very vulnerable to develop it. So I think there's a good chance, Chris did develop it and is probably worse off, like the comment said, than his mom. Now, whether his mom was brought up by a parent that had it too, I don't know. But, it doesn't look good if his mom, if for some, like I said, there's not, just like with the alcoholics, they haven't pinpointed that exact gene, but they believe there is a genetic component to this disorder, or to a lot of these mental disorders. But to be able to pick that exact component out and say, here it is, like you have it or you don't, it's not like black or white. It's I feel like it's more complicated than that. But they believe that there is a genetic basis to a degree. And then there's environmental, which all of them are environmental and biological. They all have both, but some have more than the other. You know what I'm saying? Some are more biologically based, some are more environmentally based. But the factors, they all influence it. They all do. So I feel like Chris, so he had the environment, and he had the genetics, and then there's the neurobiology, which is somewhat genetic in a way. It's a biology, something that that he can't control, something that's a part of his biology, which is the connection between the brain and the behavior and thinking, whether that was something he was born with, or whether he got in an accident and damaged something, or drugs made that connection haywire. Long term, if he used drugs so much that he damaged something long term, or if it was just a acute case where he was abusing drugs in the moment and it damaged the connection in the moment, and it might not be like a long-term damage. So there could be different reasons why the neurobiology is not functioning properly, and it could be a permanent thing or not a permanent thing. The neurobiology part is what I'm talking about. But for the genetics, that's going to be a permanent thing, and the environment is going to be somewhat permanent. Environment is like, you could possibly maybe talk to a psychologist and maybe improve yourself by talking and get some therapy that way. But so I think he's very vulnerable to it because of all three of these: the environment, genetics, and neurobiology. Well, I don't know about the neurobiology part, but from what he did, he thinks some kind of connection wasn't right. But as far as like genetics, I don't know. I just feel like the way his mom was acting, but I still don't know for sure of that too, because we only have a couple interviews and what a few, some people said about his mom. So we don't really know, like, to make a for sure diagnosis. No, and somebody would have to, analyze her. She'd have to come in and do therapy or talk to somebody. Like, nobody can tell for sure just by that a couple interviews and what a couple people say. But what I'm saying, from what we've all seen, it does seem like she is a narcissist, So, and then just what you catch on how she kind of raised him generally. Like I said, we don't know all the details, but just some of the things you could catch. it does seem like, the way she raised him would be fit. She would fall under her being a narcissist. And so if he inherited any of that, and then the environment of him being around it. But so I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. Okay, so let me go back to the comments here. So that was Holly Low. Hope I'm saying that right. Yo La. Okay, thanks for your comment.